So what is this receivable financing? So receivable financing, this is a financial flexibility or capability of an entity to raise money out of its receivable. So there are times when the entity will be unable to collect the receivable on time, and instead of waiting for the customers to pay the account on the due date, pwede na nilang i-proceed with the receivable financing so that they can collect the money already. Diba? Instead of waiting for the customers na mabayad after 30 days, and then the entity is in need of the money na at present, so pwede nila itry ang receivable financing. So during a general business decline, an entity may also find itself in a tight cash position because the sales would decrease and the customers are not paying their accounts on time. So there could also be cases wherein naglisod na gyud sila ana nga time and in dire need na sila og immediate cash. But the entity's current accounts and notes payable must continue to be paid if its credit standing is not to suffer. So the entity then would be in a financial distress as collections of receivable are delayed for obligations must be maintained. Because of course, 'di ba, although our customers are not paying on time sa atoa, but ang atoang mga bayro nun sa atoang mga suppliers, sa atong mga creditors still continues. So dili man ta pwede mo sulti nga unya na lang kumubayad because ang ako apong customer wala pa sad ni bayad. So dili man na siya pwede. So mag need man ta nga magbayad sa atong mga liabilities, especially the short-term ones. So magkinahanglan gid ta og immediate cash. So under these circumstances, if the situation becomes very critical, the entity may be forced to look for cash by financing its receivable. So mao ni siya ang solution so that it can have immediate cash even if the customers are not yet paying their dues. So there are four forms of receivable financing. So we have the pledge of accounts receivable, we have the assignment of accounts receivable, factoring of accounts receivable, and the discounting of the notes receivable. So how does these four forms of receivable financing differ from each other? So you will know in the next slides. So the first one would be on the pledge. So pledge of accounts receivable. So why do we have this pledge of accounts receivable? So when loans are obtained from the bank or any lending institution, the accounts receivable may be pledged as collateral security for the payment of the loan. So here is a case, your customer did not yet pay for their accounts kay pwede man nga dili pa siya due, wala pa yung due date, so wala pa sila ni bayad. So instead of waiting for them to pay, or pwede po na yung possibility that they will not really pay in the near future, so pwede natang maka-advance og money. So asa man ta mo pa-advance og money, pwede ta nga mang loan sa lang. Okay, so we will obtain a loan and as security sa bank nga nagpa-loan sa atoa, atong i-offer ang atong accounts receivable as a pledge. So mo'y ato ang himuon nga collateral. So normally, the borrowing entity makes the collections of the pledge accounts but may be required to turn over the collections to the bank in satisfaction for the loan. So once we already received the proceeds of the loan, pagpigay pa utang na ta sa bangko. So ang buhaton na to, every time we have the collection of the accounts receivable, di ba? We have the accounts receivable. So once we are able to collect some of the accounts receivable, we need to turn over or we need to pay the bank the loan amount atong giutang, pwede siyang tingi-tingi from the collections of the accounts receivable. So anam-anam mo na to og bayad. So no complex problems are involved in this form of financing except the accounting for the loan because we need to account for the loan, di ba? So balik ta. So naatay accounts receivable but then the customers are not yet paying the account. So wala pa tay money. So manginahanglan naman tag money because pwedeng natin mga immediate nga mga bayron no, natin mga suppliers nga naningil na, nga dili na ta ka wait of for example 30 days pa before ta magka-money. So ang buhaton na to is we're going to loan from the bank. Okay? So, ang loan na to, para makautang sad ta, di ba we need to offer something to the bank para naay security for them nga magpautang sa atoa. So, ang atong i-offer as a pledge is our accounts receivable. But even if gi-offer na nato as a pledge, kita gihapon ang maningil sa atong mga customers. So, kita gihapon ang maningil. So, every time nga naay collection, we need to pay or turn over it to the bank. Kaya naman tayo utang sa bangko. So, the loan is recorded by debiting cash and discount on note payable if the loan is discounted, and then we credit the note payable. So, the subsequent payment of the loan is recorded by debiting note payable and then crediting cash. So with respect to the pledge accounts, there would be no entry that you will make, but you need to make sufficient disclosure in the notes to financial statements. So again, the basic journal entries here, once we receive the note, okay, so we debit cash, okay, and then we have the discount on the note payable if it is discounted, and then we credit note payable bank. What if ma'am it's not discounted? So we will remove the discount on note payable. So no need to include that entry. And if we're going to record the interest, so we have the interest expense and credit discount on note payable. Again, this is in relation to the discounted nga note. But if wala siya discount on note payable, so wala po din siya credit to discount. So magbayad lang ta og interest, so credit cash. Then if we're going to repay, bayaran na nato ang loan, di ba? Loan sa bangko, so debit note payable, credit cash. So you mentioned ma'am, di ba nga, loan man ka siya. So, ngayon dili man siya loan payable. So, pwede siyang loan payable, pwede sad siyang note payable. So, if it's evidenced by a promissory notes, and so we're going to use note payable. Okay? Then we have illustration here. But before that, how do we present the pledging of the accounts receivable? So it's part of the current liabilities, and then that will be presented as the note payable, and then adjustment for the discount if any, and then you have the carrying amount. Again, the pledging of the accounts receivable, wala siya entry, but you're going to disclose it in the notes to financial statement. So here is the illustration. So on November 1, 2020, an entity borrowed 1 million from Philippine National Bank and issued a promissory note for the same. The term of the loan is 1 year and discounted at 12%. The entity pledged accounts receivable of 2 million to secure the loan. If you can observe, ang giloan lang niya is 1 million, but ang iyahang collateral or the pledge is 2 million. Okay? Pwede din na siya, ma'am. So, yes, of pwede siya. Pwede labaw gid sa imong utang ang imuhang pledge. Mas murag dili siya realistic kung dako pa ang imong giutang kumpara sa imuhang pledge, because usually mas dako pa gyud imuhang collateral or ang imuhang pledge kumpara sa imuhang utang. Nya mao tanan mo, ma'am, dili ko alkansi ana. dili man ta matawag nga alkansya na niya unless if you're going to pay the 1 million yun. Kay kung dili nimo bayran ang 1 million, so pwedeng mawala sa imuha ang 2 million nga accounts receivable. In what way man na siya, ma'am? Usually, pag naaga ni kay collateral sa bangko, ang buhaton sa bank, they will seize the property, ilang kwaon ng property, but ilahan ng ipa-auction, ipabidding na nila. So, ibaligya nila and then ang proceeds mo to ilahang kwaon. So, nga na ang mahitabo. So, kung tayo yuta, ato ang gi-pledge dito sa bangko, so ilahan ng kwaon ni mo ang yuta, so meaning dili ni mo siya pwedeng magamit because they're going to auction that para mabayaran nimo ang imuhang utang sa ilaha. So, i-convert na siya into cash. Dili kay, kung balay na siya, puyan na nila dili. Ilahan na siyang i-dispose para na ay collection sa money. And katong money, i-allocate na siya sa imuhang utang sa bangko. So, what would be the entry? So, on November 1, this is the date when you borrowed from the bank. So, you record the proceeds, so cash. So, that's 880. And then you have the discount on the note payable. So, that's 12% of 1 million, which is the loan. So, when we say it's discounted, that's advance deduction of the interest. So, i-minus daan ng interest. So, you're not going to receive 1 million, but you're going to receive the net of the interest. So, 880,000 instead of 1 million. And credit note payable bank. If you're going to ask, okay, ready ma'am nga, i-minus daan ng interest. So, depende siya sa agreement ninyo if you agreed and then you're going to get the net amount only. But if you're going to decide which is better, i-deduct ba siya in advance or dili ang interest, so better good kung kita may nangutang, better kung dili deducted in advance ang interest because mas dako og effective interest rate ang advance interest kumpara sa simple nga interest. So when we say dako siya effective interest rate, mas dako taog na bayaran nga interest kumpara adtong wala gideduct in advance ang interest. So dili siya maayo sa nangutang, pero maayo siya sa nagpautang. Okay, so this is the entry to record the loan. So if this is only a simple interest, dili siya advanced or discounted, so debit siya cash, 1 million credit note payable. But since this is discounted, so mao na siya nga kuan daan og interest. So this is how you're going to compute the net proceeds. So that's 1 million. That's the promissory note. And then we deduct the interest in advance. That is 12% of the face amount nga 1 million. So the proceeds here would be 880,000. Next is how do we present the loan? So if you're going to present that, of course, if you can recall, that's part of the current liabilities. But before we proceed to that, so there would be interest. We need to amortize the discount so on December 31, so that it would be using the straight line method. The discount on note payable is amortized as interest for 2 months from November 1 to December 31. So that's 2 months. So that would be interest expense. That's 120,000 times 2 over 12. And then credit discount on note payable, you have 20,000. In effect, di ba naaman tayo record previously nga 120,000. So nag-credit man og discount on note payable, so makuhaan siya. So mahimo siyang 100,000. So how are we going to present this? So not debit. So note payable, that's 1 million. And the discount note payable is 100,000 na lang because again, 120 man tong gi-record nato, di ba, last time. And then nag-credit mag 20,000, so ang mahabilin 100,000. So get the difference, so the carrying amount will now be 900,000. Then the note to financial statement will appear as follows. So the note payable to bank matures on November 1, 2021 and is secured by the accounts receivable with a face value of 2 million. And on November 1, 2021, where there is settlement of the loan, so debit note payable bank 1 million and then credit cash 1 million. And then we're going to close the discount on note payable. So debit interest expense and then credit discount on note payable. If you like this video, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be updated with the latest video lessons. Thank you for watching.